very much, Matt. Now, I'm humbled to be here today in the company of so many people that care about our city and how we might shape it to ensure it represents the value of Adelaideans. I've been given 5 minutes to share my thoughts with you. So this is effectively my first green speed date, and given I have the propensity to wind up like a Duracell bunny when talking about this subject, I will keep to script, and hopefully our panel debate will be lively, informative and considerably more free range than I'm about to be. So firstly, my observations are that I'm an interested and passionate observer, not an expert in any particular field, but I'm sure my colleagues on the panel will fill in the many blanks that I will undoubtedly leave. There's a lot of data available on this subject, but given this is a first date, I'll keep it to a higher level and share what I think is the state of the union of infill in Adelaide at the moment. Hopefully this works. Oops, oh, that one. There we go. Okay, so let's quickly set the scene and provide some context about what's happening at the moment. We're currently 9 years into the state's 30-year plan, and we now effectively have urban growth boundaries in place via the EPA and CPA Acts, which is Environmental Protection and Food Production Areas, and the Character Preservation Acts. In essence, they exist to protect the Barossa Valley and the McLaren Vale areas from infill development and preserve agricultural and viticultural land on the fringe. We've got changing household demographics, including an increase in single-person households, an ageing population, disruptions on the way we work and play, and these changing demographics are changing the demands for housing. The latest available data suggests small and medium-scale infill comprises 25 to 35% of residential development, but every year that percentage is increasing significantly. And much of that infill is occurring on disparate single and double allotments. Infilled master plan communities are also trending, but they are not as problematic because they are easier to regulate in the planning system and deliver a holistic approach to urban renewal with respect to public realm, green infrastructure and open space. So I thought I'd run through a couple of examples of what is actually happening. This is a typical 750 square metre suburban block in any suburb. It could be Campbelltown, Henley or Marion. As you can see, the site has a dominant green footprint to it. This is the same site with a density uplift of 2 to 1. It gives you an idea of the loss of permeable surfaces and green space that occurs on a typical, pretty good 1 to 2 increase in density. This slide shows a typical 1 to 5 density increase. There is almost a complete loss of green space and tree canopy, and unfortunately, there's no corresponding increase at the streetscape level. This type of outcome has genuine implications for creating mini heat island effects throughout our suburbs. Even something like vertical or rooftop greening could be of great assistance in reducing the impact of so much hard surface. In this instance, the tree canopy and green space probably contributed 40 to 50% of the site prior to development, and it's literally reduced to zero on this as a 1 to 5 uplift. This is a pretty good example of what we should aspire to prevent from occurring, and indeed many cities before us have let this happen and subsequently regret those decisions. Infill and density uplift are a necessity in contemporary thriving cities, but how we manage that process is critical to ensure we preserve the very attributes we love about our South Australian lifestyle and amenity. So, where are we heading? Well, if we don't attend to these trends towards green canopy losses through infill, we will ultimately face increased costs. This can occur through increased stormwater costs, flood mitigation, adverse health impacts, and their associated costs, which generally hit the health budget. It is likely we will also see increased household energy costs as we all reach for the air conditioning more as our suburbs become increasingly hotter. So, what can we do? Well, we can get smarter about how we prescribe outcomes in our planning system. We can learn from other jurisdictions' mistakes and strive for exemplar infill. by mandating minimum outcomes that preserve what we have and potentially even improve our leafy lifestyle. We can get better at acknowledging the increased lifestyle costs of housing when we don't get these things right up front. And we don't future-proof our infill, we are merely deferring costs and they will show up in a decade or two. We need to get comfortable with the concept that increased capital expenditure up front can be economically sound policy and represent good business decisions over the full life cycle of assets. We need the market to innovate and to get smarter about what and how they deliver built form, especially in an environment where climate change mitigation will come with an enormous economic price tag. Future-proofing the built form of our city through clever green infrastructure and water-sensitive urban design is not just about protecting lifestyles, human well-being, or being environmentally astute. It is about our ongoing economic prosperity and ensuring Adelaide is well positioned in the future as a global leader. Because we've balanced the tensions of what is expedient today alongside what will pay dividends in the future. Of course, today's subject is one element of a thriving city, and the ability to predict and adapt to the many inevitable disruptions on the horizons, such as transport, changing workplace trends, AI and machine learning, the transition to service economies, and many other technological disruptions to come will play a part in that prosperity. However, if we get all the parts of the puzzle right, Adelaide should and could be an economic powerhouse. So I just thought I'd finish off with an example of one of my favourite projects. This is One Central Park in Sydney. It's on the old Carlton United Brewery site. It was developed by a global developer, Fraser's Property Group. The site has cogeneration on site in a heritage building. It's got a retail precinct that the developers decided not to put any car parking in, which was breaking from conventional wisdom. And much to the surprise of everyone, consumers have adjusted to that and the retail is thriving. It's got vertical gardens that cover every apartment and internal greenery that makes commercial aspects of the project a joy to visit. It's generally an amazing place to work, shop or live, and many people do all three in that precinct. It was inspired and delivered in a way that met the quadruple bottom line metrics of financial, social, environmental and human sustainability. So to my mind, what we need in Adelaide is improved policy platforms across all sectors, but particularly planning to support the marketplace in delivering outcomes that are durable, relevant and promote prosperity in every metric. Thank you, and I hope you welcome me for a second date shortly. Thank you.